Lots and lots to cover in this video. Do make sure you check those chapters. Now, I'm ZMOT. This is the dev build, as you can tell by the fact that we've got 1,000,000 diamonds and that we've got laser rangers loaded and we've got critter launchers on the base. Lots and lots to go over. I'm going to try to do my best to cover it all. We are going to start with the laser rangers, though. These ladies are unlocked at HQ 19. They are ridiculously overpowered, which is great for a new troop. I love it. They're kind of like Lasertrons, except for they cost 0 gunboat energy to drop. Now, here they are right here. As you can see, they have turned their beam extension all the way up till 11. If you're not familiar with beam extension, same as Cryos, but slightly longer beam. And they use some of the same sounds as Cryoneers. They use some of the same sounds as Zukas. No new sounds for them, I don't think, but some new animations, some new spells, and all those kind of things. Kind of neat. They do a lot of damage. Their range is medium. They have 7.6. If you guys remember, you remember when we did that little detail trying to figure out how much range they had? I said it's 7-ish. They have 7.6 tiles. I was pretty darn close. Now, one kind of neat thing I wanted to show you is when they disembark from the landing craft, they are walking and popping bubblegum at the same time. Kind of a neat little detail. Wanted to enhance that as big as I could so that you guys could see that. Obviously, you'll see it in game soon. This week, by the way, in the next couple days. I would expect not Friday. So in the next couple days, we will see that update coming, depending on app stores and all that kind of fun stuff. Now, they have the exact same housing space as a warrior. So you need landing craft level 24 to be, I think it's 24, maybe it's 23 even. Sorry, missing the mark on that. But you need to have 27 landing spots. They take up 3 spots each. I'm going to show you a live attack here on a ridiculous base. Live attack. Check this out. As you can see, I've done a little bit of practicing, testing. This is my 12 boosted ice base. It also has 3 critter launchers up front. I feel like up front will be somewhat useful because the laser rangers are going to burn through all the other buildings and do some damage. So I figured I'd put them up front. Boom cannons up front, 4 maxed rocket launchers, 2 maxed shock launchers. Like I said, 12 boosted ice. No prototypes, but you get the basic idea. Now I've got 2 boats heavies, 3 boats laser rangers, 2 boats cryoneers, lasers and cryoneers, both doing those long beams, then 1 boat bombardier. My thinking is I've got Kavan for some healing. I've got some laser rangers for some distance clearing. I've got some cryoneers to slow down some defenses, some heavies to take some damage, and some bombardiers to give a little bit of extra oomph from the back end. No innuendos intended. Let's get in. Let's get an attack rocking and rolling. Now, first of all, when you're throwing critters, you have to be careful because they will activate those critter launchers. So don't want to do that necessarily. We are going to throw 1 more smoke over into there. And then we are going to get all of our troops going to that left-hand side. We're going to throw some critters there. A shock there. I missed one of the critters launchers, but we should be okay now. What I'm going to do is use the blind spot of that machine gun to distract some things away, and then keeping these critter launchers shocked. Not sure where the optimal shocks are when you get into the 12 ice bases. Things get a little bit hairy around this level, and I am not a leaderboard player at the moment, so I might be throwing smokes and shocks and things in the absolute wrong places, but I figured I'd show you a 12 ice base just because it's something a little bit interesting, a little bit different, and the defensive meta. These leaderboard players are going to be maxing those critter launchers ASAP because it just gives them a little bit of extra, especially against those walking troops. So we are going to keep that rocket launcher shocked until it goes down, and now we can just move back into this neighborhood, smoking our troops as we go so we can escape a little bit. 12 ice base done and dusted. There is nothing it can do against us at this point. We've got Kavan, we've got some heavies left. almost all of our laser rangers have survived. Look at those laser rangers doing all of the damage, destroying the buildings in behind, just like Lasertrons do. And those Cryoneers also giving us those long beams to remove some of those buildings in behind, keep them slowed down. 12 ice base, level 80, boom, done. Picking up the win. Pretty good. I liked that a lot. Lots of good stuff in this update. Hopefully that 12 ice base did not give you the wrong impression. These things can be a lot of fun. They just will die if you let them get a little bit too close to things. The Lasertron, for example, range was about 13 tiles. These ladies only have about 7.5, as we talked about. So we're going to do a quick 12 ice base clear just so that you can see that yes, indeed, these things are full on ridiculous. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, lnk.bio/ZMOT is a URL. That is why I have been using that to try to throw people towards all of the... Look at that! Like, just insane. Insane, insane, insane. These things wreck everything. You're gonna want to learn to use smoke with these ladies. You're gonna want to combine them with things like heavies and possibly Cryoneers. I'm not entirely sure yet, but they do need something up front. Maybe just bullet. We'll have to wait and find out. That is something I can't wait to experiment with. Now, speaking of something I can't wait to experiment with. Okay, cooker core hit. That is what I am here for. That is what I am all about. We are going to give this a go. Now, this is not the standard hit. This is not the recommended hit, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 or so lasers versus 72 or so lasers. We're going to go something like this. Now, Zookas are probably better for this hit. We're probably going to have to use a couple of extra flares just to get these ladies super duper bunched up so that I can shock them. But they run faster than bullets, so we have to do things in like reverse order. It's going to be very, 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 very strange. I'm going to shock them. I'm going to throw this flare back there. Then I'm going to drop bullet, hoping that bullet gets way, way, way out front. I don't have a shock mine to work with, so this is going to be a little bit strange. These ladies run ridiculously fast, though, so I'm going to try my darndest to get this hit to happen. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I don't know if they're going to bunch up properly or not. All I know is I want to get bullet there. These ladies back into here. I'm going to hit that taunt button, and then this is where the magic starts to happen. Are they going to spread? They spread a little bit, not too badly though, so we should be okay. Here goes nothing. Look at how magical, magical, magical that is. Bullet doing all of the good stuff. Laser Rangers wrecking the cooker core hit as all of the lasers spread around the ladies. Pretty darn good. Zookas are clearly better, but come on, look at that. We got lasers v lasers, all sorts of wreckage happening. And oh, look at that. Their flares expired. We need to flare back onto the core. That is an important, very, very critical detail that you need to be aware of, is that these ladies use the same targeting as Scorchers do. So as soon as that flare expired, bad things happened. And look at this. We're just going to get wrecked. RZA wrecked. So was it good? Yeah, pretty good, but not what I was hoping for it to be, unfortunately. Zookas will work better, but Lasertron ladies, the Laser Rangers, worked pretty darn great, if I do say so myself. Come on, how good was that for a first attempt? Cooker with the Laser Rangers. Now, speaking of first attempts, Supercell had some major problems with mechs in their first, second, and even third attempts. They have made them pretty darn great, though. These might become the people who don't have instant training's favorite troop. Maybe, maybe not. Now, one quick detail. Mechs have always been intended to shock troops. They are not shocking troops in the past. Now if we go watch these boom cannons and cannons, nothing is firing. So maybe you want to put these guys out front, Putting them out front of your laser ladies might be a great way to protect them because they shock things that are directly in front of them. Maybe you want to mix in some cryoneers so they get that long range delaying tactic. There's a bunch of opportunities here. Not entirely sure what it's going to be for the best troop. Now, speaking of a little bit awkward, see that critter launcher is throwing blue critters? If we throw critters, it's tough to know which critters are our critters. Also, you'll notice there our critters attack their critters. Critter on critter battle. So mechs have been buffed. Not entirely sure they've been buffed enough, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. Reminder, this is a 12 boosted ice base. This is not your standard base. So maybe, just maybe, like 2 boats mechs, 1 boat cryoneer. Wow, 5 boats laser rangers with Kavan might be a great way to go if you don't have instant training. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and find out in game. If you find a troop combo that works well, please do ping me on it in the comments. Lots and lots of interesting things coming up in the next little while. Now, moving on to some more things that are coming in the game. If you play Warships, this is going to be huge for you. I can't show you in the dev build, but the Boom Surprise now targets air. That means rocket choppas and heavy choppas are going to need to be on the lookout because that is going to massively boost air defenses in Warships. One more thing I can't show you in the dev build is the prototype troops, the Vampire Zuka, the Stunners, the Protectors, the Turret Engineers, the Incinerators have all been buffed. How? I don't know, but they have been buffed. You're going to have to wait for more sneak peeks on that. Do consider subscribing to the channel for that. Moving forward, let's have a quick look at these puppies right here. Now, one quick detail that you need to be aware of is that these have been added to operations. They have been added all over the place, willy-nilly. Got to look for one. There's one right there, for example, all the way from Milk Run up to Duplexity. This is going to be a massive, massive change. Low levels who attack with tanks are going to have a really hard time with these things. Do make sure you attack these things or shock them because those critters are going to ruin your life. Now, Supercell also said they made Duplexity harder. I loaded a bunch of operations trying to see what they've done to make it harder. And if you're sitting here staring at this, notice that shield generators are missing in a couple spots. So a little bit concerning there. You'll also notice that the force points are not correct for Forlorn Hope. I don't know what's going on with operations. I've told Supercell. I tried a whole bunch to figure out what's new with Duplexity, but I couldn't tell you because the numbers keep changing. Like a 303 operation is just strange. So hopefully that's just the dev build, not the live game. We'll have to wait and find out about that. Now, also tribes. You'll notice tribes look a little bit different here. We've got some color coding. Now, I assume this was because there was a whole bunch of issues where the borders weren't correct. So moving to this means that it's a little bit more obvious, but it's also hard to tell which base a tribe is which tribe a base is in. So I'm not a huge fan of this, but it'll definitely resolve a bunch of complaints in the game. Next up on the task force, yes, this is HDHDHH. If you go into the edit function, we're going deep here, folks. There are now 25 backgrounds. There are some new backgrounds you can choose from up there. Minor detail. Also, if someone does a friendly challenge, you know those people who come in when your anyone can join task force and spam those like buy diamonds in Chinese? You can now click report on those friendly challenges. Nice little detail there. Tiny little quality of life details that I am a big fan of. Not sure about you guys, but not flashy, but super great there. Speaking of tribes, we're finally going to get Bombardier, Mech, and Laser Ranger tribes. That will be super duper fantastic. Yes, super duper fantastic. Golly gee willikers, I'm excited about that. One thing I haven't shown you yet, this right here, new loading screen. A little bit cartoony, a little bit fun. I don't know. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it. I'm excited that they're giving us something new. Not super duper stoked on that, but I'm sure some of you guys will love it. Moving on to defenses, these puppies right here, the first new defenses in probably 5 to 7 years in Boom Beach. These are the troop, the defense of the day. Now, I'm going to go over how to upgrade them, what levels you get them at in a second. Actually, let's go over what levels to get them at. In the sneak peek, it said you got them at headquarters level 14. Little bit of confusion there. The buildings are supposed to be at 14, but headquarters says you get them at 12. So I believe we're going to get them at headquarters level 12. Don't quote me on that, please. But there will be critter launchers in game at HQ 12 or 14. You're going to get one of them. You are then going to get, where are we at here? We're going to get one for HQ level 12 to 14. Sorry, got lost in my notes there. You're going to get 2 at HQ 15. You're going to get 3 at HQ 19. And you're going to get 4 at HQ 23. You're going to want to build these things fairly quickly because against a huge amount of troops, a huge amount of players, they are going to be ridiculously, ridiculously amazing. Now, against other troops, they are going to be completely and utterly useless. Demonstration time. Okay, we've mixed in a mech just to make things interesting so I can show you a little bit more of the details. So, what we are going to try our darndest to do is we are going to try to get all of our troops onto there. We're going to get some of those critter launchers to throw some critters towards our mechs. And then I'm going to show you that, guess what? Our warriors are just going to hang out here. Those critter launchers can't see them. There's critters all over the ground. Those mechs are going to die here. And our warriors are just going to hang tight underneath the smoke. So this, more than any, is going to force you guys, push you guys, use smoke. You see how the critters are just hanging out there? They cannot see our warriors underneath the smoke. No issue there. You can smoke past these guys with no problems at all. If you use smoke, that it doesn't matter if you move or hang out in the same spot. Those critters that have been launched by the critter launcher are not going to do anything at all. We can even bring our troops over here on top of that critter launcher, hanging out, just taunting it. I guess taunt is the wrong word because of bullet, but you get the basic idea. Those critters will suddenly, oh, they don't attack on a retreat even. That's kind of interesting. I guess critters do freeze on retreat, so that makes sense, I suppose. That's a new detail to me. Now, another quick detail, they've got a blind spot similar to a mortar. I think the exact same size blind spot as a mortar, to be honest. Maybe actually a little bit smaller than a mortar. You get the basic idea. I will talk to the people at the wiki, try to get all of these details onto the wiki as soon as possible. So if you are familiar with the wiki, or even if you're not familiar with the wiki, do go check it out. Even smaller than the shock launcher for a blind spot. Moving forwards, one quick thing to be aware of. This is a major, major, major thing. Not sure if this is a bug or a feature, to be completely honest. But we're going to jump in here. I'm going to show you what happens when you bring Everspark out. Everspark is going to hack this boom cannon right here. Yay, we're hacking a boom cannon. You guys have all done this. This is not a big deal. Hacking the boom cannon, and then we are going to let Miss Everspark hide underneath smoke, just like we did with the mechs. Boom cannon doing some damage. Those critter launchers launching all sorts of critters towards it. That is great news. That is exactly what we want. Now, my theory right here was that Everspark would target the next most damaged building at this point, or the closest building. If we hit the hack button, notice that she actually targets those critters. Those critters are considered a defense. That is going to make hacking buildings and or using any other abilities. Look at this. She keeps hacking the critters. That is going to be a massive deal breaker. Look at now, we've got our critters fighting their critters. You can't tell whose critters are which critters. So after you push that hack button, make sure you use a flare. Otherwise, you're going to have a very bad day. This is going to be very interesting. I initially assumed this was a massive bug, but you know what? It kind of works. Your troops are going to target those critters. The critters are going to target the critters. So just be very aware when using Everspark and or other troops, knowing that they're going to target those critters as if they are a defense, because I suppose they are. Wasting Everspark's gunboat energy in a massive way. Now, let's try to walk through those critters with some form of tanks and medics and things like that, the critter launchers are going to be ridiculously overpowered. I can't stress it enough. I know we've talked about it using smoke, but they are just going to eat your medics alive. They're going to eat your tanks alive. Really, really hard to demonstrate, but I think that for the leaderboard players, these 4 critter launchers are going to make that leaderboard massively, massively, massively different. I can't wait to see what happens, how players start to use them. Also, can't wait to see just how high we can get on the XP level. If it's going to be XP 75, if it's going to be XP 76, we really, really don't have any idea. So we're just going to have to wait and find out. Now, here's when the critter launchers are going to start launching those critters. Those critters are just going to be biting around the ankles of those mechs. Notice the mechs start to turn towards the critters instead of shocking the actual buildings. Lots and lots of good things starting to happen. Now, I have put my critter launchers towards the front of this base. I think that is the way to go, because laser rangers are going to be clearing them. Like this one right here would get cleared by laser rangers, I think. But you can see that those mechs are getting pestered by those critter launchers. But critter launcher's range is fairly short, so at least we've got that going for it. Now, as far as how short that range is, I probably should be able to tell you that. Let's retreat here. Not necessarily the best demonstration because those critters keep getting wrecked by mechs. You know what, actually? Mechs, because of how fast they shoot, are actually really, really good against those critter launchers. Let's come back with just tanks, and then I'll tell you what these things' range actually is, because I think we just found another use for mechs. Mechs against those critter launchers, pretty darn... Man, this video is getting long. Let's get rid of those mechs. Let's jump right back in after we have a look at this. So, range. Where is your range? It is not showing the range anywhere on there. Does it show the range on the machine gun? No. I'm going to have to... Okay, attack range is 10 tiles, exactly the same as a cannon. Now, they do have a blind spot in that middle right about there. If you quickly look here, it says damage per second, 141 per shot. Pretty easy to figure out that DPS. It's just times by 1. Now, another quick note. It says they do damage on their own. I haven't been able to figure that out because they keep shooting critters which do damage themselves. If you can figure out a way to test that, please do let me know. But they appear to do damage. That little floating tiny shock does damage on its own as well. Let's quickly show you what the upgrade costs, because these things cost a lot. Okay, changing the screen resolution a little bit. Sorry for that, making things a bit awkward. Wanted to show you guys just how many resources it costs to get the critter launchers from level 1 all the way up to level 16. Now, these puppies cost quite a bit to upgrade, and there are 4 of them. That means we're going to be upgrading these things for quite a while. Need to show you guys all of those resources. I've got things a little bit off screen, and there we go. So lots and lots of all resources. These things are using all wood, all stone, all iron, a little bit more wood, but you get the basics ideas. We're going to use all of the diamonds because we're on the dev build. Lots and lots of upgrades. These things are going to take quite a bit of time, and as you can see here, giving decent experience as well. So people are going to hit level 74, 75, maybe even 76. Look at that, 5 million of all the resources for level 14, for level 15, and level 16, 5.5 million of all of the stuff. Okay, let's finish up showing you some tanks against critter launchers. Scorchers might be as good as mechs, but troops like bombardiers are going to have a little bit of a hard time if those critter launchers do get into range. If they don't get into range, no big deal, but you'll notice here, as soon as those tanks get into range of that right-hand side critter launcher, they're going to have a bad time. Critters start coming out. Now, I would love to see a critter rocket launcher. You'll see how they all start to turn towards the middle, starting to focus on those critters. It's going to be interesting just to see how this goes as far as getting these buildings to defend against troops, I think they're going to do great, great things. Look at this. Our critters, those critters are taking down our tanks bit by stinking little bit. They're also going after our medics, so they're going to be pestering. They are biting around the ankles, not doing massive, massive damage, but look where our tanks are pointing. They are not pointing in the right direction, so you probably want to consider throwing those critter launchers in at least groups of 2, maybe even groups of 3, because that way you get more and more critters coming out. Look at these tanks just getting wrecked by all of these tiny, tiny critters. Those boom cannons are doing nothing. Those rocket launchers are not ranging, and our tanks cannot get rid of those critters fast enough. So wasting our gunboat energy. They are starting to accumulate, taking down our tanks one after another, and the tanks are just stuck. So they have a lot of potential. Their range is not super long. You can do all sorts of things to avoid them, but it's going to be interesting to see just how the leaderboard people and those with 12 boosted ice do adapt to use these things. I pity the people with 3 offensive statues, because it's going to give even more power to the defensive side, but maybe the laser rangers can combat that enough to make it work out. So we found a bunch of bugs. Supercell has been told about them. They are all going to be resolved very, very soon. The update is going to come very, very soon. Mechs, critter launchers, laser rangers, proto troops, new defenses on warships. Now, these things should be on warships as well, laser rangers and the critter launchers, that is, but probably not in Season 40. I would guess Season 42. Complete and utter guess, though. Anyways, go get these things, spend those blueprints, spend those attack plans, get these things maxed. Lots and lots of fun things to do. I don't think I actually showed you guys the actual damage of these things. 81 damage per second, time between shots basically 0. They do reload after like 23 shots or something crazy like that for 1.5 seconds. So if you ever see these ladies just take a second off, that is why. I doubt you will, though. That is all from me, though. Massive, massive update. Not how I would typically do my sneak peeks. Keep your submarine diving. Keep code ZMOT in your shop. Keep booming those beaches, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for coming in. I'm ZMOT. Peace.